I'm going to start with Dragon's Dogma. We got a little more information. According to Peggy, those are the guys who do the ratings board. It's a ratings board. If you remember some of the old trailers and stuff, rated Peggy 18, that kind of guy. Yeah. So they recently posted a date for Dragon's Dogma 2. It's going to be released on March 22nd, 2024. So that goes along with our rumor that we heard last week about how it would be before April. So yeah, March 2022nd. However, to hold you over until then, next week on November 28th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, US, there is going to be a Dragon's Dogma 2 showcase. So they're going to be giving us a deep dive of what to expect when the game comes out. So if you are a Dragon's Dogma fan like myself and you are really excited, now you know when to play the game and now you know when you can find out more information. So go ahead and check that out. November 28th, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, US, I guess Canada too. And yeah, that's all the news for Dragon's Dogma.
Any thoughts, Antoine?
I'm still waiting on. I haven't checked yet, but I'm waiting on Dragon Dogma 1 being on sale. Have you seen it on sale? I was checking on Steam.
It's on sale all the time, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, on
Uh,
the Switch especially, and the Switch sale has also started. Black Friday sale has also started. I have to
Yeah,
add.
PlayStation as
Um,
well.
but yeah,
uh,
I'm gonna check and before I can get hyped for the further iteration, I need to get hyped with the first one. I need to catch up.
yeah, I'm curious. I'm pretty sure it's on sale on the Switch because that game is. I think I bought it at $10 on sale.
Yeah, it's
Um,
always on sale.
oh God, it's cheaper. It's $5 on Switch at the moment on the US store.
Really
Yeah,
nice.
and until the sale ends on December 4th, for which is actually earlier than the or later than the Steam sale, so that's a lot of time for you to buy. Okay,
Yep.
moving on, Antoine. Story number two.
All right, so first I gotta apologize because I completely forgot we had podcast tonight. Therefore, I have prepared nothing, and I will be stealing stories from everyone. Sorry about this. And Korean prepared talk about the SteamWorld build, which is actually fortunate because a while ago, and you still find the video, maybe we'll put the link somewhere, but it's on the channel. I did a demo of SteamWorld build, which I remember perfectly that it was very charming. It's a city builder, which is very classic in the fact that you need to expand your city, get more citizens, get all sorts of citizens, satisfy their needs. The little tweak here is that your people are robots, and it's really themed as the old Far West, old Far West and robots. Make me think of the movie with James Bond, Cowboy and Aliens.
Ah, yes.
Well, so you have a city builder on this, and basically, if I recall, the planet was dying, and you need to dig deep to get some old civilization artifact to get a rocket and leave the world. So it's a set of Pikmin basically. And yes, so you have on the surface you have your very classic city builder, where you need to get even more people, more appliances to make sure they are not cranky. You need to get oil to make sure that the machine parts work well, huh? Because you are dealing with robots in a desert. And after you create a mine shaft to go, and of course you need to mine. And I recall that the gameplay was a bit different. I really need to rewatch the video, but again, I came completely unprepared. I recall though that there was a difference in gameplay, and it really added flavor to the game. The demo was a bit short, but I remember that I really enjoyed it. So first of all, I recommend that if you are interested in this game, it gets out on December 1st. And yeah, I would recommend that you go watch the demo I made. Not because it's fantastic, but the game is great. Maybe not the way I play, but at least if you want to see what it's about, I recommend you go check that out. And yeah, no, that's a very nice game to put into your backlog.
So I'm gonna add a few
See,
details here. It's coming out on December 1st, which is fantastic. Another few things as well is this has a sandbox difficulty for people who just want to build, right? There's so with the sandbox difficulty, like in other similar building games, where it's just building, there's no sort of catastrophic events, there's no, oh my God, your economy is gonna die. It's very basic, very easy, easy enough for me, so it should be easy enough for you. There's also controller and keyboard support native, so it's not what wasn't an afterthought, which they mentioned. I thought that's really cool. I did see that this has they were like offering a custom Nintendo Switch controller. So this makes me think this is coming to the Switch would be really interesting, and that's like another cool option because there are a few builders on the Switch, but they're really honestly not that great. I've played there was a Viking game that I played at one point. I was like, but yeah, no, this is a fantastic world. I played the turn-based game of this SteamWorld series. That was really cool. I played the card game. They had a card game in the same world, and that was also really good. And it was just really fantastic and thematic and cool characters and basically the art. Like the art is really awesome, and I'm looking forward to it. One thing I'll have to add as a middle-aged gamer is I've realized with RTS games or strategy games, I have to focus and just play them, and I can't stop playing them because once I stop, I'm like, oh my god. I come back a week later or a few days later. I'm like, how do you play this again? Antoine played what is that? Evil Genius 2, right?
Yes, but honestly, I wasn't super hyped. It was fun for a while, but for this game, really see it as Ano, the Ano series. Ano, I don't know how you see it, but in Ano is I don't know if you can say it in English like a gas factory. It's you have to have this field to make this work, to make this work, to make this work. It's a very long supply chain. It's never ending, and then you have to move to another map to carry some spices from the new world back to the old world, etc., etc. That's a massive management. This is really some Anno light game, right? Some kind of builders that you can actually enjoy and put your brain to the side and really relax. I know it's not relaxing, not to me. It's fun. It's not relaxing. This is, and in the same, if you like this kind of game, in the same vibe, on Xbox Game Pass, and played and finished the Airborne Kingdom, which is same a city builder, uh, which is very relaxing, excellent, short, 15 hours max. And if you want to go for after that, there's more difficulty level. Sorry, I digress to Herbal Kingdom because it's a very good one, but the difficulty is that you have your kingdom in the air, of course. Therefore, you need to send planes down on the ground to get food and water and things, and it gets difficult, for instance, at the end when the story is finished. I'm gonna spoil, but it's a very short game. You can go to the very north of the map, which is all ice, no water, nothing. So you really need to be completely self-sufficient if you want to go to the end to there. So that's how they increase the difficulty, and it's really organic. And even though you should think it's difficult, it's not, because at this point in the game you should already be self-sufficient. Therefore, it's just fun. It's just a fun way to extend the story and to add this little bit of difficulty, because, of course, you get more people, you rescue people from the ice, but you can't get more food and things like this. So, this is the kind of games which are very relaxing. I don't know, likely, I think, Rian, you will agree with me. That's a kind of a game which you can relax, 15-hour stops, and it's just lovely.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. My biggest regret with Evil Genius was not finishing it because I enjoyed the start. It was just that's why I always like I make a note to myself now. I'm like, okay, if I play this kind of game or any game in general, I gotta really button down because if I try to come back to it later, I'm just gonna bounce off it because I feel like wasting time trying to remember how things work. Like I came back to the
Mhm.
SteamWorld like card game. I think months later, I'm like, oh, I played it for like 30 minutes. No, this is not fun anymore because I know I'm totally screwing things up. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. These games are very accessible. They're definitely light versions of popular games like the NO series. And hopefully people will give it a chance and they'll buy it. And the guys behind it, Thunder or something publishing, will make a second series of the games.
The only usually you can rate how good these games are by the fact that you need to make it interesting all along the game, no matter at which point of development of your city you are. And this was the problem of Evil Genius 2. It was very fun at the beginning, quite fun in the middle, frankly boring at the end, very repetitive, which you don't have in Urban Kingdom, and which I really hope that this SteamWorld build is gonna be nice, or as good as it can be.
Now, I didn't even make it to the middle. I think I played it for like 4 or 5 hours, and then I'm like, oh, and then something else came out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop this and I'll come back to you, and I
It's
never
not
did.
very long. I think it was 20 hour stops.
That's long for me these days.
50, 15, 20, 15, 20. I think it was, if I
Yeah,
recall.
I it has to. I don't know. Anyway, okay. My first story is, of course, me being a materialistic shopping person, is about Black Friday again. And I apologize, but if you're a collectible person like me and you like Funkos, or you like PC Lego or you like Star Trek figures like that, now is the time to buy all of that stuff. And it may look weird, right? But yes, lots of people still collect stuff. I'm a big Batman, Green Arrow, Star Trek fan. And I don't know why. It's so weird. Like you come into your place and you look at the collectible stuff. And I even like looking at Adam's Gundams in the back over there. And when I was browsing on Amazon since last week, I'm like, oh, Gundam. And I sent Adam a link and he explained to me what is MG and HG, which I was like, heavy gun and machine gun, but it's totally not that. I know, no, of course, Adam told me the real thing, but I was like, oh, cool. I didn't realize they I can only think of the Chinese word, which
It
is
has to
like
do
a
with the quality
funkai.
and the scale.
Yeah, so there's so much stuff on sale, and Nintendo is becoming more and more popular with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which was released, the Mario movie. The go back to last week's show where Antoine talked about a live action Link. So there's loads of Nintendo toys on for sale. If you're watching the video on the live stream at the moment, right, that is a cool Nintendo Mario game that your kids would like. Or it's a game you could use if you're a teacher or you're like a summer camp teacher or a winter camp teacher or like whatever kind of person you have and you want a game to play with people and it's very simple, very accessible. Well, there's loads of toys here. Like there's that very famous Super Mario racing car game. There's the like collectible Mario and Bowser dioramas that you can, depending if you're one of those people who has the box and never opens it, like all this stuff here, it's never been opened, and I will never open it until the day I die, just because I don't know why. Actually, there's just a reason, but I don't want to open the box. But some people open the boxes, so lots of selections of Mario toys for yourself if you're a collector, even if you're not a collector, for your kids, if you're buying gifts for nephews and nieces, or if you're just collecting for yourself. There's amiibos as well, right? If you're a Switch person, and really, there's some stuff is like at least 30% off from what I've seen on Amazon. So have a look at Amazon. Let me remind you again, right? That Amazon is available in South Africa, it's available in Taiwan, it's available in most of Europe, I'm pretty sure, if not all of Europe. So it's available wherever you are, most likely. And most likely, given your country or size, they've developed a shipping program where it's far more cheaper to buy from Amazon than to buy from other places. Like I was looking at a store for figurines and collectibles, and their shipping cost was $50 for 3 figurines, whereas Amazon is like $5 to ship to Taiwan, which is ridiculous. But that's what happens when you're a $1 trillion corporation. But anyway, check it out. Lots of affordable Nintendo toys, lots of cool, fun things that you can stack up your shelves with, decorate your man cave or your gaming room or your altar to Mario. And let us know what you buy if you do buy something. All right, we're going on fast, which I love. There's more videos to do. All right, Adam, story number 2.
All right, so story number 2 is going to thrill Korean because it's about Final Fantasy. So, just not too long ago, we had Final Fantasy Ever 7 Ever Crisis was released on iOS and Android, and we got some news saying that it was coming to Steam. Well, now it is officially listed on Steam, which means it'll probably coming soon. So if you are the kind of person who's been looking forward to this and playing it on a PC, you're probably not going to have to wait too long. Unfortunately, I cannot show you any of that because I do not have access to the Steam page because apparently it is not available in my region. Once again, any kind of mobile kind of stuff is just not available here. So yeah, fun times for me. But if you are the person who wants to catch up on the Final Fantasy VII kind of story, then basically what Ever Crisis is it's got a series of chapters. They just recently, I think as of yesterday maybe, or maybe it's coming soon, released chapter 4. And what a chapter is, it's looking at, it's not, you're not playing through the full game like you would in the traditional sense. What you're doing is with each chapter, you basically get a section of story, and these are one part of the overall story. I believe the first 3 chapters have to do with some of the characters from, they're from the First Soldier era. They're not actually in the First Soldier game, I don't think, or maybe they were in the training simulator. But you have it's following those people from First Soldier. We got some background on Sephiroth when he was younger, and this most recent chapter is going to be covering the Nibelheim incident. So that is either out right now or coming out very soon. So if you are looking forward to that, go ahead and check it out. You can do it on, like I said, mobile right now, and it's coming out to Steam very soon.
Yeah, just checking on my Steam page. I do have access. Sorry.
Yeah, mine. I
And
was
it's
trying to go to the. So I went to Steam. It obviously says I don't have access. So I went to the Steam on the internet, and it says, "Oh, this game is not available in your region." So I can't even look at the Steam page. It won't even let me do that. If I just go to the Steam page, it will just say not available in your region. So the only way I can even look at it is through a VPN. I can't even view it.
Yeah, no, it just says coming soon. It doesn't give any date. It just say free coming soon.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be fun. I think I'm gonna take a look.
should be
Yeah.
pretty short, or at least the individual chapters are short. They say they're currently aiming for a monthly rollout, which does have some people concerned that given that they're doing it monthly, it will eventually surpass the remake in terms of where it is in the story. So it's because it starts off way in the past, but it will eventually catch up, and then once it does, then it's going to be ahead of remake. So some people are maybe not concerned, but curious as to how they're going to handle that.
I think they have to
How
do
short?
that, right? Go ahead, Anton.
No, I was just thinking how short are we talking about each monthly update? 2, 3, 5 hours? Because I don't know if you play 5 hours at the beginning of the month and nothing until the end of the month until the next update. And will you always? Do you think that people are gonna always come back to it every month?
I don't know. From what I've seen, they've said the most of the mission they have the chapters. They also have stories, which are like small little snippets from the story, but aren't necessarily part of these longer chapters. But the way that I've seen people describe it is that it is actually designed not to be played in bulk. It's designed to be played like on the bus, where you have 5 minutes on a bus
Okay.
ride, and it's supposed to be played in very short bursts. So you will blaze through it really quickly if you're just dedicating time to it. But if you're playing it as a kind of mobile casual, oh, I got some time, let me open it up, play just a little bit, then
It's
yeah, it'll hold you a lot longer. So I don't know.
so it's really for the Steam Deck rather than your PC then.
Yeah,
Okay, but cool.
Now, I was just going to add that I think that is the sort of future of updates going to mobile snap, right, where Hearthstone would do a bunch of cards, like a load of cards every, like they would do 4 expansions here. So every 3 months you get a bunch of cards, right? But that really, like after a month of people playing, they'd be like 2 months now when we have to wait 2 months for new things, right? So I think monthly updates are going to be the future of the gaming industry, just because it's you can place the stuff for a week and it's only waiting 3 weeks. Waiting 3 weeks is better than waiting 2 months, right? Which is just it's terrible. Warframe was doing that where they would release like 3 or 4 Warframes a year. They're now up that on top of new Warframes. They've interspersed that with new weapons and with new content and new stories. So throughout the year, you're always getting something on a weekly basis from Warframe, which is what short attention people like me actually need. Because if you're and that's what you need, right? You need to justify that to investors to say, hey, like any social media platform, it's DAU, right? Daily active users. And if your daily active users are down, they're like, what are you guys doing, right? You're not making money. Sorry, we're pulling out our money because you're not making money and we don't want to risk it. So I think that's good for Final Fantasy. I mean, I hope they can continue the content in perpetuity, but you guys will know better.
we'll have to wait and see.
All right, Antoine, story number 2.
Yes, so I know that you are going to talk about the Game Awards. Oh, sorry, the Steam sales. But on this very, I'm gonna get a little bit politics and you're gonna tell me what you think about, right? Yes, you have the autumn sale, which started on 21st to 28th, but Korean's gonna fill you in with this. But at the same time, with the sale, what started is the Steam Award. And I'm not talking about the Game Award, where you have the GOTY that we talked about last week, and which is going to be, I believe, December, what, 5th or 7th, something like this, the result, right? And the jury for the Game Award are journalists and nominations, winners, all of this. We don't have a say. In the Game Awards, it's all journalists, same as like the Cinema Awards. What is the Caesar? Oh, anyway, all these kind of awards. For me, they don't have much value since it's not really a democratic vote. Like, you don't know if there's any kind of corruption or non objective view, or you don't know what's going on in the background. What's very interesting is with the Steam sales, you have the Steam Award, and the Steam Award you vote. You can vote in the Game Awards as well, even though there's a jury of journalists after. And I don't know about the Steam sale. I don't believe there's such a jury, and I need to take a look at this because again I came unprepared, but I want to believe there's no such jury. And so yes, you can vote for your favorite games in 10 or 11 categories, and the result will be published early 2024, January 2nd or something. So I find it very interesting, and I wish I really took a look before this show to see what's the actual voting process compared to the Game Awards, to see if there's a real difference. Because I would really be way more interested by just to see what the players deem, to see what's the best game of 2024 compared to the Game Awards. Even though it's very likely that Baldur's Gate is gonna win both contests, man, that's fair. I'm pretty sure the nominees would be different if it was voted by players. So yeah, I encourage you to look into it and see what's gonna come up.
Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's always tough. Where if you have it open to the public, obviously, just look at how messed up, say, review scores can be with
Review
review
bombing is
bombing
stupid.
and that sort of thing. It'd be really tough to have a completely audience to have completely audience voted Game Awards. I remember back, what was it? It was several years ago at this point, but GameFAQs used to do their Game of the Decade, I think it was, or Game of the whatever it was called. And the previous two winners had been Final Fantasy VII and Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. And so everybody was expecting one of those two to win, or maybe something like maybe you'd get a GTA or something like that. But they're expecting one of these big names. And some people started going on there trying to get Undertale to win like the greatest game of all time. And they went on to Tumblr and they were having these campaigns on Tumblr trying to get all these people to vote for it that had nothing to do with gaming, but it got so big that they just had all these people constantly voting for, and it became this thing where you could tell like a lot of people were trolling and just trying to get it to win just because it was just so unexpected, and it ended up winning. And a lot of people were upset because they were like, very few people played this game. How did this game win greatest game of all time? But yeah, I think it would be really hard not to have a situation like that where you're just having people, especially given the state of console wars right now, just completely trying to botch it with botted votes and that sort of thing. Just set up a bot to just vote, refresh, vote, refresh, and that sort of thing. So I don't know. I think it'd be really hard to do.
Sad society when you can't outrun people's stupidity. Of
It's
course,
their drive to cause chaos.
trolling and stupidity, the line is seen, to be honest. But I understand, like, the Game Award is doing it, like, you have 31 vote, and I believe it's one per category or something like this. But of course, you can always create fake accounts, and if you have nothing to do with your life, of course, that's sure, I'm not here to judge. But it's literally, it's yeah,
Yeah, and it
not
ultimately
the kind of
counts for
people.
very little. I think they basically only have one award, which is like player's choice, and that's a minor thing. Like for instance, what was it 2021, 2020? Ghost of Tsushima won the player's choice awards but didn't win game of the year. And a lot of people were upset about that,
Mhm.
and then they went back and they looked at it and they were like, yeah, actually the audience score is just so small compared to these to it's just weighed far less heavily. It's basically if you had 20 media outlets and then you had the user score, you would just take the average of each and divide by 21. So the users are the equivalent of maybe one media outlet. So
My sort of 2 cents to add would be I vote every Steam Awards since they start because for Steam users, if you're a regular Steam user, you get cards. You get Steam cards that you can actually sell for $3 or $4 Taiwan dollars. That is not US dollars. That would be really cool. But yeah, you can sell these Steam cards and make some money off them, or you can just keep them because the art is always really good. Steam has, or Valve has some really good artists on there. And they're, to me, it's as Antoine was talking, I was thinking about this. It reminds me of the sort of movie film space where in the Oscars or the Tonys or the Emmys, you might have some of these very, the people who are on the board of the Oscars committee who vote for these things, and there are always like famous actors or movie critics, and they choose these very sometimes totally not popular movies which don't gross a lot of money, but they're like these wonderfully artistic movies. They're like, wow, this is really cool. And this sort of reminds me of the gaming space as well, in the sense that you can have these People's Choice Awards where everyone votes, and the person who gets the most votes in Steam is the winner. And then you have the Game of the Year awards or other similar award ceremonies where it's these select group of people who sometimes can choose like the indie titles, the titles that nobody expects, right? And I think that's maybe that's the balance that the world has at the moment, which is that you do have a chance to vote for something, or to or people can just vote with their votes, right? Like sometimes people, like you always see the headlines, I see it on my Google News, hey, this box office bomb is doing number one on Netflix at the moment, right? Because what critics like is often not what regular average Joe and Jane's. So I think that's awesome, right? Because you can get games nobody liked critically, but like people like are playing it and it's enjoyable. I think there's some horror survival game on Steam is ranking up the charts, hit 100,000 people, and it's very much a mix of hardship spacebreaker and something else, and like stuff like that will never win Game of the Worlds, but they do get to be recognized by having this huge community of players, which is sometimes often enough to convince your investors or business people, hey, we have all these players and we're still in early access. This is why you should give us money. So I think it's an interesting dichotomy, I guess.
I think the best solution is what we have, where you just have multiple award events, and each one is determined differently. Like, for instance, so the Game Awards is mostly determined by media outlets. I've seen a lot of people saying that due to the Xbox tax, that's the reason why Starfield wasn't nominated, and that what it should be is that it should be determined by people who work in the industry, because they would have an idea of these sort of things, which a lot of people then pointed out that's exactly what the Dice Awards do, and it didn't win too many at the Dice Awards either. We have one that's based on what do the media and what do critics, what do they deem as the best. We have one that says what do other developers feel after seeing what everybody's done. How do they feel about, oh, these people did a great job? What you have one that's just Joe Sixpack saying these are the games we like. And I think that's probably just the best way to do it, is just to have multiple awards that use multiple criteria and just say, hey, there is no one best way, but looking at it from these different
Yeah,
perspectives.
but at the end, you always refer to the GOTY,
Yeah,
which
they're
is
the
the
big
Game
ones because
Award.
they're the big ones, and I think part of that is because they get a lot of they do a lot of reveals and that sort of thing there. It's like a Super Bowl event where people watch it for the commercials. So I think having that gets draws a lot of people in, where they're like, I don't really care who wins. I just want to see what new games are coming out.
Yeah, that's me there.
Yeah. But then of course, since they're watching it, then that's the one that they're the most familiar with, and
Mm.
therefore in their minds is the most authentic or official or whatever. But
Okay, moving on. My second story, I guess I have two stories about Steam today, but the first one is going to be about Steam DB, or Steam Database. So you're probably wondering, oh my God, I spent all my money in Thanksgiving, or I'm going to spend all my money in Thanksgiving. I have nothing left over for Christmas or something like that. Or I spent all this money on the Steam summer sale. So with Steam DB, and I only found out about this a few years ago, they're a website which accurately, emphasis and accurately, tracks every single Steam sale every single year. And they have data going back, my Steam account is 16 years old, something like that. It's really old. And they have data going back years and years, so they can accurately allow you to plan, hey, these are the sales, this is where I'm going to spend my money. And on top of that, so they have events as well. So if you're looking on steamdb.info/sales/history, they'll talk about different events. And Steam recently started having events like a VR event. I know in Taiwan they had a Steam China event, even though Taiwan is not part of China, but they had sales from Chinese developers, etc. So there's stuff for you to keep track of there. There's also the very famous that became very popular a year, probably like 3 years ago, where you can calculate the value of your Steam catalog. And that's something you can only do if your Steam catalog is open and public. So if your Steam catalog is private, it's not available, right? So, but I did have a look at this yesterday. I'm like, oh, I have 364 games that are personally my own on Steam, and I think plus this Steam family sharing, which is why I have this 100 or so. But yeah, they allow you to do it. They have their own Steam charts as well, so you can check out what is popular. If you're looking for game ideas, like I want to play something popular, you can check out that horror game that I was talking about, a horror survival game. So it's really an essential site for any sort of PC desktop gamer, even if you're not a PC desktop game. If you're looking for something to buy for your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other, this is a great place to start to do some research and say, what is popular? Let's buy this game for my husband or my girlfriend because maybe they might like it because it is in the top 10, right? So definitely keep that in mind. And yeah, short and sweet, keep SteamDB bookmarked in whatever your everyday bookmarks is. I have an everyday bookmarks folder on my Chrome desktop, and it's something to check out every now and then, or especially if you're a content creator like Adam, Antoine, and I, for news and stories and so forth. Yep. Cool. Okay. Story number 3.
From me, I'm guessing.
Sir.
Okay. So my third story is going to be about Unity 6. So apparently what happened was Unity came out recently. I know they've been having a lot of drama and all that fun stuff, but they came out and they said with Unity 6 we are going to be dropping some new AI tools that are responsibly sourced. So that is what their term is, and these new AI tools are chat, which will help developers find resources across Unity. If you want to say, I need some trees, or I need some clothing options for characters, or I need an asset for a gold mine or whatever, you can use the Muse chat and that will help you find those. They also use Muse Sprite to generate 2D sprites. So that's going to be an AI that's going to help you generate those. And then Muse Texture to create textures for 2D or 3D games. And so with these three AI tools, the idea is that it's going to make it easier and faster for people to develop. Now they did say that with their tools, they everything that they used as sources to train these are either things that they own or things that they have licensed. They are not just ripping things off the internet. They do have legal access to all the source material that they are going to be using. Now, this is obviously making some people a bit nervous because, of course, AI is always something that's going to rub some people the wrong way. Other people think that this is great because it is a way that it's going to help developers work more quickly. For example, if you were somebody who needed textures, you just use an AI to generate a texture. You don't have to either pay an extra money to hire somebody just to do that, or you don't have to go online and pay for them. So you can, for a smaller indie studio or an individual person who, I believe they call them garage developers, you have more access to that sort of thing. But yeah, that's it. New AI tools for Unity 6.
That's a great news, actually. You know, I prefer indie games these days, so way.
Yeah, now Unity obviously is having their own set of trouble for other reasons, but
Yes, monetary trouble, but we talked about it in a previous podcast if you're really interested.
yeah,
Which one was it though?
weeks
Okay.
ago. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Uh, a bit older than that, I think.
Green
I
looks
think
like he
it's
wants
not
to
going
say
to change
something.
the. Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to change the fate of Unity. It's cool. They're before Unreal Engine in terms of AI tools, and I think that's very useful. And this sort of follows with what ChatGPT or OpenAI came up and say, hey, you get to make your own GPTs 4 now on Chat GPT 4 Turbo. And you can like train your model and say, hey, this is my specific AI for gaming content creation, for example, right? So I think this is something that everyone's going to come out with. Unity is definitely awesome because they were first and they came out first. But I think it's after they made that misstep. I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know. I don't know any developers personally, but I can't imagine many developers would be like, "Hey, I'm going to trust Unity again," because there is that worry about that fee model and about the constant pressure of, "Hey, we need to make money. We need to justify this to people, to our interested parties." That's why. So it's interesting. It's wonderful. It's awesome. I'm all for technology moving forward, but I don't think this is going to change the fate of Unity as a development engine.
No, it's just gonna help a few indie people, which is always good.
No, I think it's going to help anybody who, especially like new developers, doing stuff faster is so much nicer. One of the cool things now with GPT-4 is sometimes for work, I'd have to look at an image and say, what do I say about this image to make people interested? But now with Chat GPT-4, I'm saying, hey, look at this image, come up with some copy ideas, like social copy ideas that I can use to describe this. And it's the same like with Adam's thumbnails. I can put Adam's thumbnails for our Mag episodes into ChatGPT-4. It will analyze, hey, you can have this copy or this copy. And I can take one of those and then edit it. I'm like, this is pretty much easy. And I don't have to come up with anything from scratch anymore, which is just like what Unity is doing, which is awesome. Okay, Antoine, final story of the day. We're moving super fast.
Yay. In my little rambling just before we started the show, I saw one rumor which looked fun for me. It's about Mass Effect 4. I'm, like many people, a big fan of the original Mass Effect trilogy. I'm maybe more than some people. I really liked Andromeda. Maybe because I came a bit late and I didn't have all these texture bugs and stuff like this, but I found it very fun. And here, Adam, maybe you can confirm to me, but because honestly, I played Andromeda not too long ago, but that's already 3 or 4 years, and Mass Effect a long time ago. So honestly, I can't remember everything about the gameplay, but one of the main critique which was made to Andromeda is that it adopted more of a gameplay like Dragon Age Inquisition, and I never played Dragon Age, so no clue. Did you guys play Dragon Age? Do you
Yeah.
think it's a fair comparison to say that Andromeda is way more Dragon Age Inquisition rather than the old Mass Effect? I'm asking this because that was one of the critiques which was made of Andromeda, and therefore apparently the developers heard you, and the rumor, hopefully that's more of a fact, but they decided to come back to a gameplay which is more like the original Mass Effect trilogy, which is quite old. Of course, they're going to be changed, right? They won't just copy and paste what they did. But yeah, basically, they're going to return to what they call the franchise classic format. And it's a decision to move away from the open world gameplay to help go back to the feel of the old game, which is way more story centric compared to here's an open world, do what you want. Which for me both work as long as the story is good. And I was actually quite okay with Andromeda, and I would have taken an Andromeda too. So if they want to do it at some point, but and the thing is with Mass Effect 4, I can't say they tease because it's complete rumor and we can't really agree with this, but they tease the fact that Shepard would be coming back in some one, I can't recall, of the ending. Yes, Shepard is alive, so technically Shepard could come back. But like Adam was saying just before the show, we see Liara in the teaser looking much older, and she's not an elf, but she has a very long life, right? And therefore, but this time Shepard would be already dead, like she he slash she I never know how to say that, but would be too old or just dead at this stage. The new N7 character would maybe be a new one. We don't know. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you like. I wouldn't mind playing. I think Adam's the same. I wouldn't mind playing a new character to reboot the franchise because the old enemies are gone. So they will need a new axe, and they will need to decide which of the three ending is the main one, is the canon one. Considering that the Mass Effect relays are gone in all three, apparently. I can't recall, but Adam seems to be sure that they are gone in all three
All gone.
ending. Yes, so that means that long distance travel is going to be much slower now. So that means what? Much less interaction between the species. That would make the game less interesting to me because, of course, the whole point of Mass Effect was to have this melting pot in the. Hey, what was the capital? The main ship, the capital ship, the embassies. Ah,
Not the
all of a sudden
Sentinel.
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I can't remember what off the top of my
Not
head.
the
Yeah, I know what you're talking
the,
about.
the,
Big
the, the big ship, the big station.
the
That
space
was the
station.
main point of the game, right? Yeah, exactly. That was really fun. Therefore, no mass relay, no Mass Effect relay means no fast travel. Therefore, no more embassy in the same ship. We'll
Citadel,
see.
that's what it was
We'll
called.
see what stories they come up with. I believe it's BioWare, right? Yeah,
Yes, by the way.
BioWare is. Yeah, it's an extremely good studio, one of the best, and I'm sure they're gonna come back with a very good story. And once again, I'm not that critical of Andromeda. It was a good game, so
Yeah.
just happy that the Mass Effect is coming. Everything is rumors. I'd say don't wait for it in 2024. Although I'd love it, but that'd be a big surprise, at least for me.
Yeah, they released a short trailer on November 7th, which is in 7 days, so that's Mass Effect Day. And it showed a character walking through a corridor to a voiceover. The character, normally when we look at Shepard, we typically see Shepard as a Spectre, which is a Spec Ops thing. They have their armor and they have that very distinctive kind of suit that they always wear. This person was wearing more of a kind of a spy noir looking outfit, like a long trench coat kind of thing. They still had the helmet, but it looked a lot more form fitting. It didn't look like it had too many armored plates on it, so it didn't look like the original Shepard uniform at all. So a lot of people are speculating that it is a new character, although they are still involved with N7. But the other thing is, yeah, like Antoine said, this is supposed to take place way in the future. And it is established in Mass Effect that you can clone people and bring them back from the dead. So that's definitely a thing. But yeah, I would suspect that they're going with a new character rather than continuing Shepard's story because as Antoine also said, in two of the three endings, Shepard is dead, Shepard is assimilated into digital code, or Shepard is alive. Those are the three outcomes. But in all three outcomes, the Mass Effect relays are all destroyed. Travel across the universe is gone. And there's also the issue of if you go with the destroy option, which is the one that keeps Shepard alive, all
Mhm.
AI in the universe is destroyed. All synthetic life is destroyed. So there are no Geth. Eddie's gone. There's no artificial intelligence left alone and left alive in the, in the universe. Basically, if you go with
Worst than
if you go with the synergy option, which was the one they added, the green option,
best one.
yeah, then everybody is a mix of synthetic and organic life. All life is that way. Which, granted, that in this one trailer that we saw, the individual is wearing a helmet the whole time that we can't see through. That's a possibility. And then in the third option, Shepard basically takes control over the Reapers, and in that case, I don't see why that couldn't be the canon ending that they go with. But they're going to have to commit to something. Whereas in Andromeda, they could easily not because they quit. They basically just said we left, everything was fine. We've lost communication. We have no idea what happened in the Milky Way. Yeah. So, yeah, they could leave it open ended. So I'd be really curious to see where they go with it. But yeah, I'm excited.
Agreed. But I'm pretty sure that they are not gonna go the green way
No, I don't think they will either. As far as what the people were
because
saying with Mass Effect Andromeda being more like Dragon Age, I was curious as what do you mean by that? But when you say the open world format, yeah, the Mass Effects 2 and 3, one still had that open world attempt, but 2 and 3 were definitely much more corridor kind of shooter kind of deals. Whereas,
action story centric. Yeah.
yeah, you enter a space station or something like that, you didn't traverse the planets in the same way. You just scanned them. Whereas in Mass Effect Andromeda, you could land on a planet and you could travel around and you would have nodes where you could build up bases and that sort of thing. I could see where that argument. I could see that argument. I don't necessarily think that's a better or worse system. I think it's just a different system. But
Honestly, I feel like I remember Mass Effect Andromeda being very not open world for me anyway. So I don't know. I don't know.
you don't remember
To
driving
me,
around in the what was it, the Orca? Was it
Yeah.
called?
The Orca, yeah, I think.
see, I remember doing that, but I didn't feel like it was like a GTA open world. Like for me, open world was
No,
always like
Yeah,
Assassin's
several
Creed.
planets.
So it just didn't feel. But that's usually what I play. Like even in open world games, okay, I go from point A to point B. That's it. I don't really usually do like side stuff. So maybe no open world game is an open world game for me.
no, I think you're right. That was one of the things with Dragon Age position too, was that it wasn't so much open world as it was open field, where you load in an area and it's this big field and you can travel around in there and maybe pick up some side quests. But it's not you can't. It's not say Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West where you can go from one side
Mm.
all the way to the other side and then you can't crisscross the entire map and then go from one zone to another and just and see everything like you can in Assassin's Creed where you have a big open city where you can go anywhere. It was really just we have a field, we have a map, and there's maybe some points of interest in it. Maybe there's a city over there, and maybe there's an outpost over here, and you can drive from point A to point B and maybe fight some enemies along the way, but it didn't feel open world in the sense that say Skyrim feels open world.
We'll see. Hopefully, I have time to play it when it does come out. Okay, I'm gonna run up today with a story about Steam sales and where you should be spending your money. So, I'm just gonna remind everyone if you're watching a graphic or set of graphics, now that I'm thinking about this video, is these are just the prices are in Taiwanese dollars, right? So Taiwanese dollars, a good example, like in Taiwan, people always like 30 Taiwanese dollars to one US dollar. It's actually 31 as of yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
these are just also my lists. So these are a mix of RT, not really RTS, sort of turn-based strategy. And this is just a selection. Like you've probably heard me talk about my Steam list. It's 124 games long. So of course I could not take that would be like 10, 11 screenshots, right? That would take forever. And I'm trying to drive Adam crazy with including all of those screenshots on one stream. So this is just a selection. I'm just talking about these games. There's a ton of games on Steam. I don't know why I said Steel. Make sure you're getting your Steam emails. Make sure you're checking that they're not going to your spam folder, because those Steam emails do say, hey, these are the games that are on sale. And usually those games are the games that Steam knows, hey, Korean, you've played these games recently. These are the games you probably want to buy next, right? So like for me, right, I got my Steam email this morning. It said 16 games of the 124 on sale. Actually, there's a lot more on sale, but it gave me the selection of the games based on my recent play that I would like to play the most. So definitely keep that in mind. But without further ado, some of the games I'm talking about today are Weird West Definitive Edition, right? So Weird West is like a kind of sci-fi, but like a steampunk West turn-based strategy game. It did not receive the best reviews, honestly, but at these current prices, why not pick it up? It's 172 Taiwan dollars, which is about what 6 US dollars. So really cheap. If you're a turn-based XCOM fan like I am, I love XCOM games. I love turn-based games. Really good thing to pick up. Next is the Tenants, which is I played this game when I first got my Switch, which is about building apartment buildings. Again, this is like a similar, like very toned down version of The Sims or The Sims 4, where you're just building an apartment building and you're keeping tenants happy. Again, super cheap, 186. So again, another that $6 price point. Hard West 2, again, also another turn-based Wild West strategy game. Yes, there seems to be a pattern here. Black Skylands, go back and check the mag archive of cool videos. Anton talked about this before. This is a game that I'm waiting for it to come to the Switch if it's not already there. And if it is there, I'd rather buy this on the Switch because I feel like pixel games are better on the Switch. Traveler's Rest. Traveler's Rest is another Stardew Valley-esque farming, relaxing, cozy game. Also really cheap. This is 200, so that would be $7 US. And this one is early access, so it's not completely out, but I've heard really good things about it. The last game that you might be seeing on the picture is something called Escape Simulator. If you're in a situation like Antoine or like myself, right? Or even Adam, we're all in the same situation where perhaps you play games with your brothers or other family members or friends and you're looking for a game to play. This might be a cool game. Or if you're a fan of escape rooms, like I've done escape rooms with my brothers and I love them. They're so cool and interesting. And especially it works better with people you're really close with, because I did them before with a disparate group of friends and that was a horrible idea. But this is like an escape room on a computer, and it's still got that thinking element and still got that like really fun element of communicating and talking. Okay, this is what it says, this is what I do. I will also mention for gamers, there are escape rooms in a box, which is also really, really cool. They got some really elaborate, expensive ones. There's also Jack in the Box games, which is not in this picture. Jack in the Box makes really, really famous games available on PlayStation, available on Nintendo Switch as well. Those games are on sale. So if you're looking for games to play for Thanksgiving or for the Christmas season when family's coming over, those are really good deals. So you can pick them up now. Also, remember, there will be Christmas sales for Steam, Christmas sales for Switch and PlayStation, I'm pretty sure as well. So after this initial sales season, there's still going to be another sales season. And I'm going to speak more to that. But yeah, lots of games on sale. Think about what you want to spend your money on. Think about what you're looking for to play in the next year. Think about the new games coming out next year. And keep in mind that we will have a special episode on December 13th, where the guys and I will talk about games we are looking forward to in 2024. So if you're looking to write some things down, keep your mind on say, okay, I'm allocating $300 for these AAA games come out next year, or $300 for all these indie games coming out next year, right? Keep that in mind. And then that's it for me for the final story for today.
And I just checked, and Dragon's Dogma is it the first one? Dragon's Dogma Dark Horizon.
Dark
Dark
Arisen
Horizon
is basically the definitive edition. It includes the base game and the Bitter Black Isle DLC.
minus 84% in Canadian dollar. It's $6. Therefore, I'm gonna buy it right away.
Let me know what you think. Let me know if you can make it past all the old age stuff that they did it, because I can't.
That depends. We'll see. On some games, I find it okay and even cute to have the old gameplay. On some, I'm like, oh no, I just can't. No,
Okay.
thank you, but
So if you make it past, I'm going to feel really bad. And if you don't, I'll feel vindicated finally.
Play Katamari. Make
therefore,
him feel bad about that.
Yeah, please get Katamari on the stage and tell me too, because that really, I'm like, I watched videos of it. I did my research. I read reviews. I listened to Adam talk about it for 2 years, and it still couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Therefore,
It was
if I
fun, man.
can do it, I'm not gonna mention it because I don't want to make you feel bad.
No, it's good. No, then I know. Then that will force me to give it a try again and reinstall it at some point again on the Switch. All right, gents. Last 60 seconds each. What's the gaming looking like for the next week? We'll go Anton first.
I'm of course playing my football manager, and I'm starting to lose therefore because I went up one division, so it's starting to get much harder. And I think I'm gonna and play Dungeons 4 because Dungeons 4 was released for free on the Xbox Game Pass. Dungeons 3 was extremely funny, so I expect the 4 to be at least as funny as it was. And yeah, city builder, dungeon builder, where you go up to the surface to destroy the heroes, the good guys' bases, because while you build your dungeon, heroes are gonna come and try to destroy the core of your dungeon. So it's multiple gameplay. It could be quite tough. Very fun when you play with two players. One build a dungeon while the other destroys the above. No, very fun game, and very likely I'm gonna do this. Either that or Dragon's Dogma, because you said Dragon's Dogma is quite short. That could
Can be.
be something as well.
All right, Adam. 60 seconds. What happened to
Uh,
Persona 5 Tactica?
what do you mean? What happened to it?
Because
I
I saw
have
you
it.
playing
It's
Neo.
loaded.
Yeah, because I thought you were going to be playing that because I saw you still streaming Neo.
I was really debating, and it came down to the last second, and I was like, I'll just do Neo because I still have 2 DLC left on Neo to do. I finished the first DLC, so I was debating whether I wanted to do Persona 5 Tactica on stream and just start that now, and then just finish Neo on my own time, or if I wanted to just finish Neo as quickly as possible, doing it on stream so I can finish it quickly or more quickly, and then do Persona 5 Tactica once I was done with it. Because yeah, I don't know. I don't juggle games well, and I was worried that if I started Persona 5 Tactica, then I'd be like, oh, this is so much fun. And I'm like, I need to finish Neo, but I was in the middle of this fight. Come on. Yeah, I was debating which one to go through and do. So I ended up going with Neo because it was just right there. But I might tomorrow, not tomorrow, Friday. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I just start with Tactica and just finish Neo on my own time, or should I just finish Neo the last 2 DLC and then do it?
Anton, you muted.
Yeah, I can't hear him. I see his mouth moving.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, finished Neo. I was saying for all
Do
the
not
one who are
finish
watching.
Neo. Become a real middle.
Oh no, I'm finishing it one way or the other. That's not an issue. I am definitely
I
100%.
can't hear you. I can't
Yeah,
hear you
why did
though,
Korean get
Korean.
muted all of a sudden?
Because I hit
He touched
the.
his mic.
Yes, I hit the top.
That's
But
so
no,
odd.
my goal as a middle aged gamer is to make Adam a real middle aged gamer. That
I'm a
means
completionist.
don't
It will
finish
eat
things.
away at my mind, and I will go mad if I don't finish it. And that's
No,
where
no,
I'm like,
you're changing, dude. You're slowly
no,
changing. As long as I've been doing this
it's not
podcast, right?
happening.
I can feel that completionist streak become from 100%. It's going down. It's probably at 79.5% at the moment, but I
No,
will get it down to zero, and then
He's
no,
trying to
eventually
corrupt
it's
you,
never gonna
mate. Be
happen.
careful.
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's
I've
never
worn
gonna
you down
happen.
to 79.5%. It's
I
gonna go
paid
down.
money for it. I'm not gonna not play something I've paid money for. I am not some rich guy who can afford to just pay money and blow off games. So yeah, I might start Persona 5 Tactica and then go to what do you call it, and then just finish Neo on my own time. But I am definitely finishing Neo because I do want to see what the rest of the story has in store.
Cool.
So 100%, I'm finishing Neo. But the question is, do I finish it on stream or do I go to Persona 5 Tactica, do that on stream, and then Neo off? Part of the reason that I also went with Neo is because I was looking at I can't see it immediately on YouTube or Facebook, but on Twitch, if you go when I go down the when I list when it if you're in OBS and you use the Twitch thing, it'll tell you how many people have notifications set for a game and how many people are actively watching the game right now. Because I used to set it to Neo 2 Definitive Edition, then I noticed that, and it noticed that most people are watching Neo 2, not one of the other various versions of it. So I set it to Neo 2, and I've had people entering chat since then. And that's the other thing is I was looking at Neo 2 had 700 something people who were had it in their notifications. Only 22 people or so were watching. Persona 5 Tactica had like 1,500 people, and I was like, okay, Neo 2 is a much smaller pool, but I feel like I have a much higher chance of getting engagement with that smaller pool in Neo than I do if I get because I'm competing with fewer people. So it might be a little bit easier to get that engagement with people if I go with the game that has active watchers. But a smaller pool of active watchers as opposed to one that has 1,500 people watching. Obviously, most of them are going to be in bigger chats. So that was a gamble that I took, and it paid off. I got people in chat. But yeah, I have no
Nice.
problem going and playing Persona 5 Tactica on stream and finishing Neo in my own time off stream.
I'm very sure you're going to finish Neo, but the next Neo or the next something else, eventually you're going to stop.
No. I will say I am not going to go through and finish all the way through. The way Neo does it with New Game Plus is you get a higher difficulty each time. I'm not going to go through all 4 sets of difficulties. I've already spent like 150 hours on this game. I'm not going to spend 1,000 on it. And then plus, especially because I'm rerunning the same story every single time, I'm just basically, it's like Borderlands where you're just grinding for better gear so that you can get stronger, so that you can bug grind for even better gear. I'm not going to do that. But once I finish the entire story, yeah, I'm not going to finish before that. So
Okay, and on that note, we have to call today's podcast to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories for today. Let us know what was your favorite story. Adam and I are pretty active on Twitter. Antoine is slowly becoming more active on Twitter, so keep an eye out for him there. We're also on Instagram, and I know that's where we get a lot of engagement on Instagram. So please do talk to us, those people who are favorites of videos and pictures on Instagram. We usually put one picture a week on Instagram. There's a bunch more. My goal is to put Adam's thumbnails on there as well and have discussions about those. It just never have the time to do that. But yeah, engage with us there. We're also on Facebook as well. Keep an eye out for that. And then we will see you guys same time next week. So do remember next week will be the last week where we do stories for games, or I should say news stories, right? And then from December, we're going to have 3 special episodes. My episode is going to be about games for 2024. Antoine's episode is going to be about the Game of the Year awards. I guess the Game of the Year awards. They'll explain it to you. Don't worry. And then Adam is still undecided.
yeah, I need to think about
Yeah.
what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, Adam is still undecided. So keep an eye out for that. And then we'll be back in the new year 2024, back with news stories and Kickstarters and everything else in between. So hope you guys have a good week. Keep in contact, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
See you later.
See you later.